This is Tax Pro Nation, the home of independent tax professionals. Find community, maximize your earnings, and live life on your own terms. I'm your host, Jeff Dolan, Vice President of Pronto Tax School.
And I'm your co-host, Andy Fry, founder and CEO of Pronto Tax School. My grandfather started Pronto Income Tax in Los Angeles back in 1965. My father and I carried on the family business and became tax business entrepreneurs. I launched Pronto Tax School because I know that given the right training and tools, you too can experience the freedom the tax business can offer. I grew up with a dad who wasn't working all the time, who had time to spend with his 5 children, who could take us to the beach on a Tuesday if that's what he wanted to do. The tax business can be an ideal business for people who want that kind of freedom, but it's got to be done purposefully in order to work that way.
And that's why we're here, to help you navigate your journey as an independent tax professional. Don't do it alone. Join the nation. Let's jump in. Welcome to episode 13, where we will be speaking with our guest, David Reeser, CEO of IT Works and sales instructor of our very own Pronto Tax School course on how to increase your sales skills as a tax professional. While some people view sales as a dirty word, David believes that sales, when done right, is an extremely positive activity, connecting customers with solutions that make their lives better and having fun in the process. In his first official sales job, David helped raise his company's profits by 75% within 18 months. In his next position, he signed 148 accounts within 12 months. In collaboration with Pronto Tax School, David created the first and still the only sales training program exclusively dedicated to helping tax professionals sell better and maximize their tax earnings. David has also taught sales courses at the University of North Carolina Wilmington Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship, Cape Fear Community College, and as part of the Pronto Tax Business Opportunity Program. It is our pleasure to welcome David to the show. Good morning, David.
Good morning. Wow, what an introduction. I was just wondering for half a second if that was me that you were talking about. Thanks for having me on the show today, guys.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks for coming on, Dave. Really appreciate you investing the time to be here today. And I know you've learned a lot about teaching the art of sales to tax professionals specifically. Of course, of developing our sales training course. And very interested to hear what you've learned about helping tax pros sell more of our services with more confidence.
Absolutely.
Yeah, maybe we could start from the beginning of how you became a part of the Pronto Tax School family. I was expressing to you this common problem that we have as tax professionals, which is that we are very technical minded, a lot of us. And we're very service oriented. So I remember when I first got into the tax business, one of the big appeals of it was actually not needing to sell because, quote unquote, everybody needs to do their taxes, right?
Right.
So that's a part of our culture, is that we don't want to really be perceived as salespeople. But now we're in an environment where people have so many different options that we actually need to sell in order to even do our job. And so I remember when we were first talking about doing the sales training course, expressing that problem to you. And how do you feel that the course that we made, do you feel that it helps, solve that problem for our customers? And if so, how?
Absolutely. So first and foremost, I see sales as a positive and profitable activity. When you come from the mindset that sales is a dirty word, you're already starting off on the wrong foot. That's first and foremost. What sales is really is just talking about value. Sales isn't convincing, which is a very powerful word. It's not convincing or pushing someone into a corner until they say yes. It's all about influence. It's about showing someone that you could actually be a solution to a challenge that they're having and that you would be happy to work with them, and then telling them what it is that you do and show them the value that you have. So together you can decide if it makes sense for to work together. It's a very positive and profitable activity. Where I've seen some individuals fall short, not just tax professionals, but anybody who's technically minded, is that they're so focused on the occupation of the task that they want to do that they would forget that we're actually human beings. People only want to do business with those they know, like, and trust. And a proper sales strategy is built on a sincere desire to help others and communicate your value. That's what sales is actually about. And the way I teach sales specifically is with a 4-step process. And it's to get to know the person you want to do work with. It's called rapport. That's step 1. Step 2 is define pain, which is need or want, which is actually 2 things. It's the need or want is either they want to avoid the pain that they have or they're hoping for a future gain, right? And offer a solution, which means tell them how you can help them, right? And then close with a really simple question. If all these things are true, would you like to be my client today? I would love to work with you. And there's nothing negative about it. If you take sales from the perspective that it's all about influence and gaining someone's trust, and it's built on a sincere, strategic desire to help others, there's nothing to feel bad about. And it actually becomes a liberating experience. I think sales is more powerful than just getting business done. I look at so many things in life as a sale. When you recommend a restaurant to someone, when you're hooking 2 people up that you think would be great partners, when you recommend someone to go on vacation to a certain place that you've been before, it follows a very similar process to the sale that you do every day to help build your business.
Yeah. So David, I want to jump in here. So
Sure.
I think what you're saying as far as mindset, really, it comes back to how confident are you in your product that you're selling? So like Andy opened the show with, he thought, well, this is going to be easy, right? Like everybody needs to do their taxes. So they're just going to come to me and I don't have to do a lot of selling. But really what it comes down to is you have to actually believe in your service and what you are doing in the world to help people first. Like that you have to believe in that or you don't even have the confidence to talk about it to anybody, right? Have you ever had a product that you're just not quite sure about and somebody asks you about it and you're like, well, I kind of do this thing. And you say it under your breath and they're like, what? But when you're super confident in it and you know it can help people, you automatically want to tell people about it, right?
Right.
And you want to tell them how it can help them because you're so excited about it and passionate about it and you see it helping people. So you want to talk about it. If you don't have those things, then you shy away from it and you're kind of just waiting on other people to validate that it is helpful.
Right. I think that's a good point. So first of all, you have to believe in what you're doing. And if you don't believe in what you're doing, you need to find something else that you do believe in, period. So if it's not taxes, sorry guys, if you don't believe in taxes and the fact that doing this tax preparation and setting people up for future success with their finances isn't important, you should probably be in a different industry. Okay.
Yeah, or you can grow into that over time because the tax business, like a lot of complex businesses, it may take you a while to achieve that mastery of where you're 100% confident, but you may have a client selection process where when you're at this stage in your career, you can work and really effectively help this type of client. But maybe you need to work up. And so that's why we try to deliver the technical training, but then also bring in the sales training through you to kind of build that fit with the client that you talk about. And one of the things I think that's really a strength for independent tax professionals, David, which I think you've seen as well in your work with us, is that we actually do care about helping people.
Absolutely. I absolutely see that. And it's so one-to-one also, where a lot of industry is you care for the masses, but you never develop that personal relationship with someone else. I say all that to say this. I appreciate that question. And honestly, I do not believe that you have to feel that your product or service is going to change the world. All you got to do is help one person. Right? So you don't have to be so excited about it that you think that you're going to cure cancer, but
Right.
it also shouldn't be a situation where you're so confident in what you have that there's any value in it that you can't talk about it. Right? So find some happy ground, some happy medium. It's highly likely that 99.9% of the people listening to this, their service isn't going to change the world, but they can change one person's life and make it better. That's enough to be able to feel good about what you do.
Yeah, I like the way you put that. And what's to be said about the idea of fake it till you make it? That seems to be a common thing when it comes to sales. And I think a lot of our listeners, especially if you're starting out in your career, or maybe you're getting into a new niche and a new type of client that you're working with, you may not feel that 100% confidence that Jeff is talking about. And so somebody might tell you, hey, fake it till you make it. Like, what do you think of that saying as it pertains to sales?
Absolutely. So I believe in it, actually. I believe in every aspect of life, we somehow have to fake it till we make it. Think of any major decision that you've made where there was a first step. right? You had to own the decision that you made and the role that you were stepping into. So let me just paint an example, because the way I teach, I tell you real life what I'm thinking. I create analogies and then we role play. That's normally how I teach. So I'm going to tell you what I think. If it's not clear, I'll create an analogy. And for further clarity, I do role play, because role play always makes it real.
I don't believe in fake it till you make it.
Okay.
I'm going to take the opposite side.
That's good. I like it.
I've heard the other expression, which is believe it until you achieve it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who said that. Probably Tony Robbins or somebody, but basically, like you have to, there's some element of believing that you can, even if you can't today, believing that you can figure it out.
Well, fake it till you make it, at least in my mind. And I guess it's a matter of perception, because this is quite subjective. Fake it till you make it probably has some negative connotation around it, but I heard it first and I own my own version of that understanding, right? But the way you explain it sounds a little more positive, but essentially we're saying the same thing. You aren't currently where you're going to be, but you see it in your hand. There's an expression that says, if you can't see it in your mind, you can't hold it in your hand. If you cannot see it in your mind, your dreams, your aspirations, whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, if you cannot see it in your mind, you will not hold it in your hand. Because what you cannot perceive, you cannot own. Okay? And this is also true in roles in life as they are in business. Okay? So let me tell you a little story. So I come from the clinical realm. Okay? I started out in medicine, direct patient care. My first day as an MRI technologist, I knew what I was doing. I technically knew what I was doing. I was educated, but I hadn't done some of these procedures on a live patient when it was my license for the first time. Does that make sense? Just like a new physician, right? You have all your education, you're touching a patient for the first time with all your knowledge and all your skills and all your practice. It's on you now. You have to fake it till you make it. You have to admit the confidence and own the confidence before you've fully achieved the experience that you need to say, I've been in the practice for 5 years.
But I would argue you're not faking it. You're fully trained and prepared to do the job. It's just you haven't done it. You're inexperienced.
Well, I think you may not be fully trained. I think that's a tough thing, because I think we have a lot of people in our industry, Jeff, that with all due respect, I do understand what you're saying, but I think we have a lot of people that are waiting for that moment to like be able to do it and to have made it, at least in their own minds. And sometimes that's holding us back.
Yeah.
Because with something like taxes, I've been doing this for 17 years. I learned something new about it every single day.
Yeah. At the same time, we have to be honest. We have to be clear about what we can do and we cannot do, right? And talking about your value is all about saying, this is what I do and this is what it means to you. Are you interested in working with me if I can deliver X, Y, Z for this challenge that you have? Would you be interested in working with me, John? Right? Very simple. I don't walk in and say I've done 10,000 returns when I've done 2, right? You don't do that. That doesn't make sense. That's not going to help anybody long term. Your whole entire sales process has to be built on sincere desire, a strategic and sincere desire on helping others. If you start with the end in mind and the end result is, I want this person to be in great shape, better than when I found them, you won't have to worry about decisions like that, because you started out with the right foundation.
Right.
I'm all about foundational things. Some people think they come to my sales training and they're going to learn how to sell. Really what they get is life lessons. Because I think that becoming successful in sales, which is absolutely necessary for those of you that aren't sure whether or not you want to be salespeople and you're a business owner, I don't know what to say to you. Honestly, like if you plan on staying in business, you're going to have to learn how to sell. In fact, in my opinion, if you're a startup, meaning you're only a few employees a year or two into it, and you're less than $3 million in sales. Everyone's on the sales team. FYI, everyone's in the sales team. Right. But your sales strategy has to be built on a strategic desire to help others. I mean, that's literally where it has to start.
Are you somewhere in your tax career and feeling lost with what to do next? Do you sometimes wish you had a map to show you your next step to reach your full potential as a tax professional? Here at Pronto Tax School, we have developed that guide. We call it the Pronto Path, and we want to share it with you for free. Go to taxpronation.com/path right now. Let's talk about strategic, because that is kind of a loaded word as well, right? That a lot of people look at salespeople as, well, they're calculating. They're always trying to find the angle, like how are they trying to close me, right? Like they don't want to be salespeople because salespeople have given a bad rap, giving people a bad rap.
Cool. So can I jump in on that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I've heard all this a million times. So let me just tell you that it saddens me that so many people have a negative view on sales, so much so that they don't want to, quote unquote, deal with salespeople, which is one of the worst words in the dictionary. To deal with someone else. I hate that. I literally dislike that greatly. I really do. I deal with these people. I deal with them. I'm like, wow, that's terrible. Why don't you just lock yourself in a closet and deal with all these people? I think it's a privilege to be able to communicate and be in community with others. So this is strategic, means steps. It means a repeatable process. My strategic process is built on the understanding that I want to get to know someone to see if we'd even be a good fit to work with each other, if we enjoy working with them, if I have anything of value to offer them. Sometimes I get to the end and I get to the close. And when I say to them is, you know what? It doesn't seem like it's a good fit, but that's okay. Because I'll tell you what, I know you well enough that I got somebody else you should work with who's going to be a perfect fit for you. It's about being honest with yourself, right? Sometimes you're not going to be the right fit, and that's okay. Who else should I talk to? Because everyone you talk to is, if you're in taxes, everybody you talk to is either a client or a referral. Simple as that. If they're not a client, they're probably a referral. Sounds like it doesn't make sense. Sounds like we shouldn't work together. That's okay. I like you. Who else is like you that you think I could help?
That's good. Yeah.
Honestly. And that's the truth of it too. There's no angle. There's no angle because when you get to know them, you realize you can't help them. What are you going to do? Right? And you know, I think of it, I taken that back to medicine. You know, if I'm working with somebody and I take a look at what's going on, I'm like, wow, this is beyond my capability. You know, I'm not even sure. This is actually not even the right modality, the right technology to evaluate this disease. Doesn't make sense. I'm going to send you to my buddy who does ultrasound because the ultrasound is going to reveal what's going on there a lot clearer than this MRI will. You know, if you don't have the tools for the job, don't try to force it. Just be honest, because in the long term, that's going to help you a lot. You're going to build trust. Trust is a difficult thing to get. And if you have trust, you can build a repeatable business because you're going to get referred around. And I promise you, when you do something bad, they're going to go out and tell 10 people. You do something amazing, you might be lucky if one person hears about that.
That's right.
So you can deconstruct your life a lot quicker than you can build it. 20 years to build a reputation, 5 minutes to tear it down. Make wise choices.
But I like the idea of strategic because as long as you have this sincere desire to help your clients, which like I said, when we took a survey of our Pronto Tax School members, 58% of people, of respondents, that was what they most enjoyed about the tax business, is helping people. Yeah. Aside from earning money or earning fast money or whatever it might be, that was the most popular answer by far. And so if you start with that foundation, but then the strategic part of it, what I really liked about the sales trainings that I've seen you do is that how you simplified the strategy of it. Because I've seen different sales coaches that I've had and other books that I've read where here's the 17-step process. And so I really enjoyed about your sales training where strategic in the sense of, okay, I meet somebody, I start with building rapport, and then I move it through a simple 4-step process. So because you're so into role play and kind of showing us what it looks like to have these strategic interactions, maybe you can take us through your 4-step system that you teach. How would that relate to me as a tax professional? Give me an idea of how I would put that into play for myself.
Absolutely. That sounds like fun. I love role play because role play makes it real. And when you can listen in on a conversation, a sales conversation before you have it, and you can picture yourself on both ends of it, it starts to put all the pieces together and you say, aha, that's how it works, right? It's like a dance. Until you know the steps of the dance, well, first of all, you got to watch someone do the dance. But once you learn the steps and then you do them, you're like, it all makes sense.
And you feel that you can do it again.
It's
repeatable.
repeatable.
You feel like you could do it 10 times that day.
Yeah.
And so take me through how that looks though for me specifically as a tax professional.
Perfect. So let me review the 4 steps first and then go through the specifics of it.
Whatever you think is going to get me that mental picture of what I could do today to put that into practice. And get more sales, get more business.
All right, paint a scenario for me and we'll do role play. But this is not pre-engineered, guys. We're making up a scenario right on the spot and we're gonna jump in on this. Let's assume for a moment that we both have name tags on. We don't know each other. I walked up to you because you look like you got money and I need some. How's that? We're gonna keep it light and fun. How's that sound?
Sounds great.
Okay. Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. It's Andy, huh?
That's it.
Andy, I'm David. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Man, you got a strong handshake. Where are you from, Andy?
I'm from California.
You're from, what are you doing in North Carolina?
That's a good question. I've actually gotten into some real estate investing. So I feel like there's some good potential deals around here, and just teamed up with a small group of real estate investors and starting to move into that area of business. Pretty excited about that, actually.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. Well, what brought you here other than the real estate investing?
What do you do?
Oh, what do I do? I'm in the tax industry, but I don't like to talk too much about myself because I make it a point to get to know other people. What brought you to North Carolina? Was it just the real estate investing or
mainly
the good weather?
Yeah, no, it's mainly the business, but the weather's appealing as well most of the time.
Isn't it? What do you mean most of the time? It's beautiful here.
Yeah,
we love it here.
We do get some interesting weather from time to time that can be challenging, but overall, yeah, it is nice weather. I like it.
Well, what do you like to do for fun when it's not lousy out?
I like to jet ski.
Jet ski? Wow, that's pretty adventurous. Does your wife okay with that?
Yeah, she enjoys jet skiing as well.
So you're married?
I am.
That's cool, man. Any kids running around?
Yeah, I got 3 kids.
Awesome. 3. I hear that's a tough number because one can watch the other one, but the third one's getting in trouble.
Yeah,
is that about right?
You're outnumbered.
I like it. Yeah, actually, I came from Philadelphia too. I got 2 kids at home. We love this area. This has been amazing here. It's been absolutely amazing. So you said you're in the real estate game?
Yeah, I teamed up with a small group of real estate investors and actually purchased our first apartment building. So I'm glad that you're in the tax industry because we're actually looking for a tax person. What kind of taxes do you do?
Man, that's pretty amazing. I mean, I told you I was in the tax industry, but I didn't really even tell you exactly what I do. So you got a little bit of psychic intuition over here. Hey, I work in the tax industry and I love it. I've been in it for about 3 years now. And really what I'm looking to do is find individuals that I enjoy working with. Where I came from in Philadelphia, I didn't really enjoy where I was working because I was working for other people. I didn't like their mindset. I didn't like the fact that they didn't have the best intentions of the clients in mind sometimes. At least that's the way I perceived it. So I decided to start my own practice where I could focus on just delivering maximum value and working with people I enjoy where I know I can actually help. It sounds like you just bought a building. You're probably pretty excited about that, huh? Yeah,
we are. I mean, one of the few of the challenges that we're seeing is managing some of the interpersonal dynamics between the different investors, between the partners. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the things I'm concerned about when it comes time to do the tax return is we kind of need our tax professional to be able to relate to everybody in a positive way, mm-hmm. and make sure that obviously the numbers come out right as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think I would want the same thing if I was in your position. Absolutely. What challenges are you having now? It doesn't sound like you have any challenges. You just bought the building.
Like I said, the main challenges I'm concerned about are keeping all the partners on the same page, if you get my drift.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
okay.
And making sure that, that we work with someone who's diplomatic and knows how to keep everybody's best interests in mind when it comes to the taxes, because a couple of the partners are, pretty detail-oriented, let's say.
Yeah, well, that's good. It's good to have folks that are detail-oriented. Sounds like you got some smart people around you, Andy. You seem like a nice guy, too. So if I hear you correctly, I'm just going to review what you said to me. You got some detail-oriented folks around that are really looking at the numbers, and you want to make sure you set yourself up for success in this big deal because I'm thinking you probably want more and more of these deals. I mean, you took a pretty big risk flying across the country and living in a new state. You must see a tremendous amount of opportunity here. Am I right? Andy, is that right?
And that's exactly it, because I feel like the tax part of it and keeping everything buttoned up at that point and keeping everybody happy is actually going to be a key component of us being able to do more deals and have everybody have the best opportunities that we can.
That seems to make sense. I mean, it's pretty serendipitous that we met here, although this is a pretty focused meetup event focused specifically on real estate. I do tax preparation mostly in commercial real estate deals. So it may or may not be a good fit for us to work together. You seem like a nice guy. I think I could potentially offer some value. You tell me that you have some detail-oriented guys. You want to set yourself up properly, that you want to make sure you're doing it right. It seems like you're involved in a pretty big deal and you have some partners in this. If it would make sense to you, Andy, if that's what you're looking to accomplish, what I'd love to do with you maybe outside of this event, certainly we can't do it here and now, is maybe we sit down for another cup of coffee. And if there's a key decision maker that's in your group that you'd like to bring with you, let's just sit down and get to know each other a little bit better. I don't know for a fact that I have something that you need. I need to get to know you a little bit better. But would you be open to sitting down maybe Monday or Tuesday of next week, having a cup of coffee and just getting to know each other a little bit better, Andy? Would that make sense to you?
I'm not real big on cups of coffee as far as meeting, but I would like to know what do you charge for that type of work?
Actually, I don't even know what it is that you need exactly. I think that you may potentially need more than I can diagnose, if you will, in 30 seconds. And maybe I'm actually not even the right fit for you at all. I honestly don't know. So it would be a complete guess at this point. But to be honest, I'm much less worried about cost and more worried about investment, because when people work with me, they see it as an investment, right? This is not a line item. I work with people that I enjoy working with, and I consider myself part of their team. And if that's something that makes sense to you, I would like to sit down with you and have a milkshake or have some lunch or go to a ball game. I just want to have some time to get to know you, because for me, it's more about working with people I enjoy, where I know I bring value and they'll appreciate me. So we'll have a relationship for long term. But I'm not looking for customers. I'm looking for clients. And that looks like long-term relationship. And that's why I invest in opportunities like this to come out and meet folks like you.
And at the end of that meeting, would we know how much it would cost and what the benefit would be?
Highly likely, yes. But first, we got to get to know each other, and maybe we can talk numbers as well. I'd be completely open to that. We just can't accomplish all that here, but you seem like a great guy, and I'd love to sit down with you. So, Andy, if you're open to it, does Monday or Tuesday work best for you?
Yeah, I could do Tuesday morning.
Tuesday morning? Morning is best? 10 a.m. should work, maybe?
That sounds good. 10
a.m.? Great. Here's my card. I'm going to mark you down. I'm going to go ahead and send you an invite so that falls on your calendar, Andy. Hey, it's so good to meet you. Enjoy the rest of the event.
You too.
Are you thinking about getting into the tax business, but not sure where to start? Maybe you're not even sure the tax business is the right fit for you, and you don't want to invest a lot of money or time quite yet. You just want to get a taste of tax knowledge and see if you like it. Or maybe you're an experienced tax pro and you see someone else in your world who needs an introduction to the tax business, but you don't have time to teach all the basics. If either of those situations sound familiar to you, you need to check out the Pronto Tax School Basic Income Tax course today. It's fun, entertaining, and gets you a real IRS credential. Go to taxpronation.com/basic to find out more. All right, I am so eager to jump in here.
I told you I wasn't going to make it easy for you. You said don't make it easy for you.
No, that's fine. That's easy peasy.
Okay, so first I want to point out that there are two distinct personality types interacting here. Andy is what I call a driver, okay? He wants to make quick decisions. He knows what he wants. He wants the answer. He gets right to the bottom line. He doesn't want to do a lot of small talk. He kind of was tolerating David as the salesperson to try to get the information he needs to make a decision.
Well, that's how most of my real estate investor clients, that's kind of how they are.
I know. A lot of business people, a lot of CEOs, a lot of leaders, a lot of entrepreneurs are drivers. They drive and they get stuff done. David is what I call an expressive. Okay. He's very relational. He's all about the person. He wants to make sure there's a connection first before he does business. He likes small talk. He likes the engagement. He wants to meet with you for coffee. You don't have time to meet with him for coffee. You want the answer. You want to know if he's a right fit and move on with your life. He actually wants to play this dance and do the game with you, right? So it was really hard for me to listen to this because the two personality types tend to grade each other a little bit because you're trying to get a straight answer and he's like dancing around not giving you a straight answer, right? And so, but David's objective is to get you on a call where he can ascertain, is this going to be a good fit?
I don't want to get you on a call, yeah.
Or not a call, but a meeting, right? You want to meet with him and see, I need more information to know whether I can even help you or not. And from that meeting, I will determine what the price is and give you all the information, right? So, I would call that a discovery call. You're basically trying, or a meeting, you're trying to get that first initial detailed meeting of all the information that you're not going to be able to share in an open, meetup kind of networking event, right? So I think you did really good on that. You were able to still schedule it and not dance around the answers too much where Andy was like, all right, this is not the guy for me. He can't even give me a straight answer.
And truth be told, I'm coming from the mindset. So in role play, I create a persona for myself in my head ahead of time because I always perceive my success. I think ahead, like, what am I trying to achieve? I keep the end in mind. And I know that anybody I want to work with is going to be patient enough to meet with me outside.
Sure.
And if they're only trying to get numbers, they're probably going to price shop. And I'm not going to be the lowest guy in the room.
Bingo.
And I don't want to be because I don't want to compete on price. I want to compete on value.
That's right. And you did right by that. You did right by that. You did not succumb as a salesperson. So a lot of new salespeople succumb to the pressure of somebody like Andy, who's a driver trying to get the bottom line.
They feel pressure.
They feel pressure, and they say, $500.
But I could be at 20.
Right.
So this is the thing.
And that's the wrong way to go. So you did good on that.
I can teach you how to walk in and get it done. First degree sales. I've coined my own terms here, and you won't find them anywhere else. Literally, I have victory mindset because I think 90% of sales is managing the real estate between your ears, and I call it victory mindset training, helping you prepare for how to actually be successful and win the sale and feel good about it. Victory mindset training is where it starts. That's a foundation for everything, right? But I can teach you how to walk in and get it done on one call close. You never met the person before in your life. They don't even know your first name. You walk out with a check with your name on it. I can teach you that. And I can teach you the technical sale, which is 2 years and 20 commitments just to get closed business, right? The way I perceive this interaction is Andy's a highly skilled professional who moved across the country. If he's going to make a decision, it's going to be thought out anyway. So if I'm being pressured for price, it's because he probably is trying to do mining for information so he can leverage that to make a better decision somewhere else. And what I'm trying to do is find people I enjoy working with that I'm actually going to turn a profit and not just be working 24 hours a day and not make squat. I position myself to work with the right people.
Well, I think it's a really good interaction in that way, and even the awkward parts of it, because I know that our audience is going to recognize some of those awkward parts where at times where we get into those, it's real life. This is exactly how it would go down. And also as that driver type of personality, that real estate investor that maybe is managing and other relationships with partners and stuff, I want to put you right on the spot in front of whoever is listening and whatever else, because I want to see how you'll react. Because that will be what I know that my other partners would probably do to you.
That's right.
Yep.
So I'm just kind of running you through, and it's really respecting you by even doing that. But I liked how you were still insisting on doing business your way, in terms of that you like to be friendly with people, you like to get to know people. And I think that's something that the audience can learn from, is that we're the professional in these interactions, or we're supposed to be. And on the sales side of it too, we have to be a professional enough to say, this is how I do business, and this is who's a good fit for me, are people that are willing to have a cup of coffee. Yeah. So if I say something somewhat rude of like, I'm not into cups of coffee, it was cool to kind of bring it back to that. Well, that's kind of how I do it. And it's like, okay, if you do it, actually, that would be all right with me.
By the way, that's good acting, Andy, because I know you like coffee.
Yeah, totally. But I only have 2 kids too, not 3 kids.
I know. I was like, did he just have a kid that I don't know about?
Really mixing up. Hey, can I just throw some out for your audience real quick here? So a few quick things. One is this. If you're listening to this podcast and you think that sales has to be uncomfortable and has to be awkward, I would urge you to reshape your thinking of that. I think the first thing that has to happen in order for you to have a successful business through being better at talking about what you do has to shift that mindset from negativity to positivity. You get to interact with more folks, help more people, grow your business. Use those funds to pray, bless your family, bless other businesses in the area, lift up small businesses. You're a key component in an ecosystem. Use your abilities. You use the abilities you've given on the technical side and create and add a layer of relational, a relational layer that looks like sales.
So David, what if I'm not an expressive type personality like you are, and I'm not the kind of relational person? What if I am what I would call an analytical, or I'm a driver, right? I'm not on the people side of the spectrum, right? I like numbers, I like things, I like getting stuff done, right? If I'm on that side of it and I'm trying to do sales, what would you recommend?
So let me just tell you that sales, being amazing at sales, requires having a high EQ, emotional quotient. Being amazing at sales requires knowing your own emotion, knowing how to control your emotions, understanding the emotions of others, and learning how to use the environment to shape their emotions. People with very high EQ can do that, but it's not necessary to get the job done. Just like there are people who can dance so beautifully that it seems like they're walking on air, but there are others who maybe are older in age and have a simple waltz and still looks beautiful and it gets the job done. Okay? Dancing and sales are very similar. You just have to know the steps. And there's 4 steps, just like you heard me go through with Andy. Build rapport. I'm going to find out who this person is. 2 ears and 1 mouth rule. I was trying to listen twice as much as I talk. That's why he turned the question on me, wanted me to tell all these things about myself. I don't want that. I want to know about him. There's no point in me talking about myself because that's not going to help business get done. I got to understand if I can help this guy. So I want to hear him talk twice as much as I talk. I want to, step 2, find pain. What is it that's going on? A challenge that he has where I can jump in and save the day. How can I help? And then step 3, solution. What is it that I have, my unique knowledge, where I come from, what I do, what do I know about his industry? What can I offer that he will look at and say, wow, you understand me, you see how I challenge, and you've given me something that's actually going to help me. And then step 4 is simple as this. If you agree that I have this solution and it's going to solve some challenge in your business or in your life right now, knowing that we have know, like, and trust, that you've transferred some amount of confidence to me that we've gotten this far in the conversation, would you want to have another conversation or just say, yes, you're ready to do business with me? Close with a question. It's 4 steps. Strategic, just like a box waltz. Step 1, step 2, step 1, step 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Even if you're not a relational person, it's hard to screw up 4 steps. Just ask them a question that's personal. Get to know them as a person so you can connect with them on some level. We're all human beings, but we still need some kind of bridge to gap our understandings, who we are, so we can start to get to know each other and contextualize each other. We have to find a challenge in their life where you can start to contextualize, in what capacity can I help?
Tax pros have seen it coming for years. The entrepreneurial wave is here, and that means more opportunity to do corporation, S-Corp, and LLC business tax returns. With the new tax law, they're even more complex and in demand. Professionals who increase their skill set in this area can expect to become more profitable and successful. Pronto Tax School has the perfect online training course for you called Business Tax Verified with CPA Adam Shea. Find out more at taxpronation.com/business. For people that are maybe not as relational, that are trying to understand someone else on that level, it's key to kind of sit in that discomfort a little bit to find what that pain is. That person has to share something that they're actually struggling with, that's a challenge for them, and get a little bit uncomfortable. Like Andy, when you were asking him, like, I don't really hear a problem there, or tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah.
You're probing a little bit. You're saying, hey, it sounds like you're dealing with an issue. And Andy was kind of dancing around it. Well, if you know what I mean. Well, he was saying things like that.
Yeah.
And that requires you to as in the function of sales, to dig a little bit deeper. Tell me a little bit more about that. What do you mean there? To really understand what the pain is. And that might not happen in that initial call. That might happen later, that initial meeting. That might happen later. But you do have to, at some point, figure out whether they have a pain or they have an area of growth that they're wanting to solve, right?
Yes. What I do is I mirror my client. If my client isn't giving me much, I don't want to push them hard if I'm just getting to know them anyway. But if I know if I sit down with him again, then I'm going to build so much know, like, and trust that he'll be telling me potentially his deepest pains in his life. I mean, from childhood, who knows, But yeah, you have to find the pain.
Yeah, and we have to understand that as tax professionals, because again, our culture, as in this profession, is a lot of times based on everybody needs to do their taxes. So your problem is that you need to do your taxes, you need somebody to do it. But consumers and clients now are so much more sophisticated than that.
Right.
They have so many more specific problems that they're trying to solve. I don't have time to deal with it. The person I work with currently, I don't have that much trust with. They just look backwards. They don't look forwards. Like, we're so much, with all the information that's out there, clients are, frankly, a lot smarter than they've ever been. And so drilling down on what is really the problem that I'm going to solve for you, I think Jeff makes a really great point on that.
Absolutely.
I know that we're getting towards the end of our episode here, and there was a couple other things that I wanted to touch on. I know that you're active in the BNI networking group.
That's right.
And also with other community organizations. Like you actually are leaving this podcast to go do another panel at the Hilton downtown, developing local businesses. Specifically for tax professionals, how important do you think it is to be involved in, say, a referral group or a community group? Is that a big way to improve your sales and business development part of your business?
I think to answer your question, Andy, I think that being a part of a group of business owners like BNI, business owners and business development folks, is always a good idea to network. There's lots of theories around loose connections and the power of having loose connections, even if it's not your brother, your aunt, or your uncle that you're doing business with, but all these loose connections that we have where you become more and more connected to who you actually need to be working with is always a powerful thing, these loose connections. So I highly recommend them as long as it's a good investment of your time. You have to know what your time is actually worth. So if you're already a very busy practice and certain types of groups only yield certain types of clients that aren't as profitable for you, it's a money in, money out sort of situation. You have to know what the ROI is. I personally enjoy being with people. I was built to be in community, as I believe all people were built into be in community. And business is about doing business with others. People buy from people. That's actually how it works. Not marketing. Marketing helps, sure, but people buy from people. And I like to be in the community. It's done very well for us, especially if you're in a city where people don't want to do business with you until they've known you for 5 years. Being part of an organization where you meet regularly like BNI gives you the opportunity to deepen your relationship with them much faster, which can help your business grow exponentially quicker in a town where it's hard to get in.
Another thing that we were talking about before that I wanted to make sure we touched on, and I know, Jeff, you've done sales for some bigger companies. And one of the reasons that we hired Dave to do the sales training course for tax professionals is a lot of times as tax professionals, we feel like, well, nobody's heard of my company, or why would they trust me, or I'm independent. That's a big challenge for us on the sales front. Maybe you can introduce that question about like the difference between selling for a company that like Intuit, where people already know or they have some trust versus the startup phase. Like what are some things that come to mind for you on that?
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely done both, right? So the company that Intuit acquired was a small startup company that nobody had heard of.
Okay.
And so I definitely know the difference there. We actually thought that, calling as Intuit would open more doors, and it certainly probably did. But I think when it comes down to it is what we were just talking about. What value are you going to provide? I think the initial name gets you in the door a little bit easier. It might get you past some gatekeepers like, oh, I know that company or whatever. And so they let you talk to the decision makers maybe a little bit easier, but you still have to give a reason for why you're calling or why you're talking to them, or right. So I think what we just were talking about, where we were saying understanding your pain, understanding what problem you're solving for people, understanding what you're actually helping people with is key, because that is the hook that's going to get you into a conversation with somebody, even if you're a nobody. Right? If I have a pain and I go to a doctor, I always like using this analogy from the medical industry. If I have a pain and I go to a doctor, and let's say like I'm bleeding out or something, or like my arm is in so much pain because I broke it, and a doctor's coming up. Let's say I did it on a baseball field, a doctor's coming up. Am I going to stop him right there and be like, hold on, what are your credentials? What school did you go to? How many years have you practiced? Have you done one of these before? I'm not going to ask his name. I don't even care.
Just fix me.
Fix me. I've got a problem. And I'm only going to respond to somebody that's like, hey, I'm a doctor. I can help you. Great. Let me talk to you.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so, but you have to understand what that is, right? And so I think that's what you really have to get clear on. And it really gets down to what you were saying. Like, next to building rapport, I mean, that next step is key.
You've done that, Dave, with actually several companies now, where you basically have been building out the initial sales strategy for a startup, and also even working with the CEOs and other personnel within the company to build that culture where everybody is on the sales team. For people that feel like we're in a startup, we're in an unknown company and we need to develop our business, what have you found is the number one key to be successful in selling a company that's not a known entity, it's not a brand name yet?
Well, first of all, you have to know that you actually solve a problem. Make sure that you're focused on the right market, that the market's big enough and you become enough of the solution and can deliver enough value that they want to vote with their wallet and actually do business with you. First and foremost, solve a problem. Know that your piece of the solution has enough value on it that you can monetize it, have enough money left over that you can live and grow your business to whatever you deem success actually is. I actually tell my folks that I work with, new entrepreneurs who are looking to build a business, define success for me today. What does that look like? The decisions you're going to make from today until you reach that point in success are going to be completely different, even for the same individual, depending on what they define success as. If you say, I want to have a tax business and I want to drive a Lamborghini and have homes on 2 coasts, the decisions you make today, tomorrow, and moving forward are going to be different than the guy who says, I want margin in my life. I want to work 50 hours a week, no more. And then the rest of my time, I want to spend with my family and I want to take weeks and weeks of vacation every year and enjoy my family. You're going to make different decisions. There's things you have to say yes to and things you have to say no to. Beyond that, you have to know yourself. You have to know your business. You have to know who you're talking to. You have to know that you're utilizing the right media, the right market, the right message to reach those folks you enjoy working with. You have insight about their industry and that you deliver enough value that they're willing to agree to it and do business with you and you'll enjoy the business that you've built. That's kind of where I look for it. It doesn't matter what your product or service is. And I've been selling since I was 12. I sold door to door when I was 12. And I went to school. I went to college. I worked full time. I didn't even go to a party till I was 23. I did a lot of selling and a lot of studying. And I am a technical person.
Well, we've got to make up for lost time then.
Yeah,
let's go party right now.
No, I love my life though. I have 2 girls at home and I have a beautiful wife. And I've had an adventure of a life already. And I'm only 38. I'm totally good. You don't have to worry about me. No. I'm living a life that I'm totally happy with. And at the same time, we all have something to learn and something to teach. And I learned something today. And I hope to learn more today, right? And I'm not done. And I'm not the sales guru. There are people who know more than me. And I hope to grow and become more like them. And I'm sure that there's even farther I could go beyond that. But at the end of the day, sales is all about talking about value. It's about building influence. It's about growing your business in a positive and profitable way. The material that we've put together, the course that we put together, I'm very proud of. And I believe that if you actually listen to it and you apply some of the things that you learn, not everything, you're not going to learn everything and put it all into practice. But if you glean the things that make the most sense to you and you put them to practice, you're going to see a positive effect happen both in your personal life and your business. And I'd be excited, and I'm sure the folks at Pronto would be excited to hear the positive effects that will happen as a result of that. Because my genuine desire is to see small businesses grow. I believe that small businesses are a way to change the world, because when a small business thrives, families are blessed, communities are blessed. And I just think it's a positive way to go. And I want to be a part of it. And I do that through helping people talk about value and building sales strategies. I enjoy it. I love it. And I think that it's got real value.
Awesome. David, this was great. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sharing your heart.
Thank you so much for having me.
And all these principles that are super important as you are, even an employee growing your business, your book of business, your clients, an entrepreneur starting their company. If you took anything out of this episode, we definitely want to hear from you. So let us know either in the comments on our page, taxpronation.com/13. Let us know. Send us an email. We'd love to hear you and hear from you, and I'm sure David would as well. With that, I have been Jeff Dolan.
I've been Andy Fry. Thank you so much for listening.
All of the show notes for this episode can be found at taxpronation.com/13. We have created an infographic of the Pronto Path so you can see all of the steps in one place. Go ahead and download that at taxpronation.com/13 as well. We hope this episode made your life a little bit easier and more profitable. Join us next Monday as we talk with more of you, our listeners, and share more helpful insights and stories. Take care.